Good morning, students. Today I will discuss the OOPS concept. The particular topic is mentioned in MCA second semester. The subject code is BMC 202. The content is OOPS concept. What is the meaning of OOPS? OOPS means object oriented programming. If I am talking about the object oriented programming in this model, we have already seen that the basic OOPS concept we have already studied or in C++ languages. There are some concept which is included in this context. As the name suggests, object-oriented programming or OOPS refers to languages that use objects in programming. Object-oriented programming aims to implement it real-world entities like inheritance, hiding, polymorphisms, etc. in the programming. In a real-world scenario, we can communicate between the two entities or among the entities or among the classes. We can communicate through the objects. All the application in the real world scenario, all the application is will be executed or will be run through the objects. So there are some parameters must be mentioned, or some concept must be better understood, that what is the class and what is the object, and what is the data abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, dynamic binding, and message passing. These are the OOPS concept. One by one, here I will discuss the content that is in the context of the OOPS. First is class. The features is that's object-oriented programming, platform independent. What are the features of object-oriented programming? Means object-oriented programming platform independent. That is, if you are executing an application and this application is based on the object-oriented based model or object-oriented based programming languages, there is no requirement to to execute this application on a specific hardware or a specific operating system. The application will be executed any hardware devices and on any operating systems. There is no specific requirement for any hardware devices or hardware configuration and operating system, specific operating system. That is platform independent. Second is simple. That is high level programming languages. That is mostly the application. All the application is to be created. Different application. The application may be client based. The application may be server based. So the application is to be created, and the application which we are developing the application, or the developer or the programmer develop the software, it will be high level programming languages. We can use high level programming languages like object oriented based, like C++ and Java. It is most popular in the real world scenario. Mostly developer using these concept for developing the softwares. That is case sensitive. In this context, all the methods, all the classes, all the methods, classes and keywords, these are the case sensitive. Means if the particular the packages, class, interface, methods, keywords, all are defined, and these are total 53 keywords in total 53 keywords is defined in the current scenario in Java. So all the keywords and all the different type of methods. For example, if we are that is a famous class through which we can create the thread, that is thread class. A lot of different type of methods we can use we can create the thread through the different type of method. The one method is, it is very famous, means it is known as a run method, start method, join methods, short method. There are the different type of methods, and all these, a bunch of all these methods is defined in a specific, their libraries. These known as a class, and these class is to be mentioned is in a specific package. So all the contents are case sensitive. That is if you are using these methods, class, packages, sub packages in your programming, and if you are writing a small to capital or capital to small, then definitely at the compile time you can get the errors through. So you can use all these contents, means keywords, method, class, package, sub package. You can carefully use these special classes, methods, and keywords in your programming, because it is case sensitive. Next is compiler based. That is mostly if you're writing a program, you can see that some type of error you can find it at the time of compile time, but some errors you can get the errors at runtime. How you can handle the errors at runtime? That is, we can handle it through the exception handling. That is these object oriented programming, that is features of object oriented based programming, means C++ and Java like languages. That is, it is compiler based programming languages. Second is dynamic memory allocation. At a runtime, we can create the object at the runtime. We can create we can allocate the particular object. We can allocate the data. We can allocate a set of data, a set of objects through the array at the runtime. So if you are allocating the particular, if you are creating and allocating the objects at a runtime in C++ and Java, you are using the special keyword. It is known as the new keywords. Through the new keywords, you can the particular object is to be created at the runtime. This is known as dynamic memory allocation. Existence of libraries is a set of, it is a rich set of libraries which we are using, and the time to time, that is in the context of the thread, in the context of the multi-threading, in the context of the generic programming, in the context of the applets, in the context of the AWT. If you are creating a different images in a Java, and if you are creating a creating the exception handling, so different type of classes must be mentioned. All the classes is segregated in a different packages. If you are using the particular class, then you can mention, you can import the particular package in your program. So in a specific, if you are using a specific method, then you must be mention this particular method, in which class it is mentioned, this particular library or this particular methods to be mentioned in a specific class. So before using it in your source code, you can import the particular package or import a particular class in your source code. Last is speed. You can get the high level speed, that is the time complexity. Means if I am talking about the speed, means the time complexity is it is a much better way. The program is the particular application which is based on the object oriented based concept. It is well executed in the context of the time complexity. So the features are object-oriented programming, platform-independent, simple high programming language, high-level programming languages, popular, case-sensitive, compiler-based, DMA, existence of library speed. These are the features of object-oriented based program. Next content is difference between the object-oriented programming and POP, procedure-oriented programming. Program are divided into parts known as objects. If you are talking about the object-oriented based programming, means all the I am talking about the program in the context of the objects. Means through the objects we can execute the particular program. Program are divided into parts known as objects. In the context of the POP, procedure based, in this program are divided into functions, and this function is known as a procedure. The main focus of the OPS is on the data. The data maybe it is public or protected and private. So we can that is data. If I'm talking about in the context of the data, data means how we can hide the data. How you can hide the data from the real worlds. There are different type of the data. The data may be public, data may be protected, data may be private. So if I am hiding the data from the real world, I will mention the data as a private. If I am the data will be communicated among the real entities through the objects, the data must be public. So there are the different scenarios. The role of the data is to be changed according to the program. It may be public, private, or protected. It provides data hiding, data associated with the program, so security is provided. POP does not have any access specifier. Means in C language, if I am talking about the C language, there is no concept to hide the data from the real world. That is no access specifier is to be mentioned in a C languages. Ease of modification. Modification is ease of modification in the object-oriented based programming. The modification in the source code, in the modification in a specific module is to be very easy. But in the case of the POP based program, it is very difficult. Example, Java, Perl, and POP based program, that is C and COBOL. They are some basic concept. Students, you have already studied the C programming languages, and in the different second semesters of in MCA, or if you are doing the BCA, you can already you are studying the concept of the Java and C++. So the object oriented based programming, you can better understand what is the difference between the object oriented based procedural languages and what is the difference between procedure oriented based programming languages. Class. A class is a user defined data type. It consists of data members. If I am talking about the POP based programming structures, then I am talking about the structures in which the data is to be wrapped, and the data containing the different mixed type of data. Means data may be double, data may be data int, float, char, double. That is this type of data. So that the data is to be a container is to be the container having the different type of data, and that all the data is to be wrapped. This is known as a structured in a POP based programming languages. But in object oriented based programming languages, this particular concept, it is known as a class. In a class, we can define there are two content. First is data and second is a method. Method may be public, method may be protected. A class is a user defined data. It consists of data members and members functions which can be accessed and used by creating an instance of the class. It represents the set of properties or methods that are common to all objects of one type. A class is like a blueprint for an object. A set of objects. If a class, if I'm mentioning a class capital A, then small a1, a2, a3, a4, a5, that up to n number of objects that belong to the class capital A class. that belong to same class A, belong to capital A class, all the objects can access the method which is already defined in a class. And so all the objects have the property of the class, of the specific class, that is the classes which is defined for the specific, the classes, all the objects which is defined or which is declared or which is originated from a specific class having the properties of the class. Now, what is the property of the class? Means they can access all the methods which is mentioned or defined in a specific class. For example, consider the class of cars. There may be many cars, different names and branches, but all them will share same common properties, like all of them will have 4 wheels, speed, limit, mileage range. These are the properties, these are the attributes of a class. So, the objects having the attributes of a class, all the attributes, means if in the context of the cars, the attributes of the class are, that is 4 wheels, speed, limit, mileage range, etc. Objects, it is a basic unit of object-oriented programming and represents the real life entities. An object is an instance of a class. When object is defined, no memory is located, but when it is instantiated, memory is allocated. You can create the object. You can create the reference object. For example, capital A, for example, if you are declaring or creating the reference object, for example, small a1 is a reference object of class A. So, firstly, you can declare, you can create the object, but when what will be the next step? You can allocate the particular object in a main memory. How you can allocate the particular object in a main memory? Through the new keyword, that is dynamic memory allocation. So, capital A, small a1, capital A space small a1 is equal to new space a constructor. Through the constructor, we can initialize the particular object. That's why we can use the constructor. There are the two main important key points when you creating the objects. First is allocating the object in main memory through the new operators, new keywords. Second is we can create the particular object in main memory and instantly we can initialize the particular object. For example, in this context, you can see that dog is a real life object which has some characteristics, that is what is the color, that is breed, bark, sleep, eats, that is identity, name of the dog, state attributes, breed, age, color and behavior, that is bark, sleep and eat. These are the behaviors. Means these are the behaviors. We can segregate the particular all the properties the dog having, we can segregate through the two different categories. That is, first is behavior, second is state or attributes. So, in this context, state or behavior means breed, what is the breed, what is the age of the particular dog, what is the color, and behavior, what is the behavior of the dog, that is bark, sleep and eat. Data abstractions, data abstraction is one third point properties of OOPS. Data abstraction is one of the most essential and important features of the object-oriented programming. Data abstraction refers to provide only essential information about the data to the outside world, hiding the background details of the implementation. You can better understood that. Abstraction means abstractions means it is blueprint. It is a blueprint of a class. It may be a class, it may be method, and it is a blueprint. But in your source code, you can create the concrete class. You can create the concrete method in which all the detailed information is to be mentioned. Means the particular class or particular method will be well defined, and this is known as concrete class or concrete method. But firstly, initially you can declare only the particular class or particular method. No information is required initially. Only you can give the details or give the information about what is the particular method, what is the method name, and what is the class name, and what are the parameter they are using it. Initially they are abstract class. So data abstraction refers to providing only essential information about the data to the outside world, hiding the background details of implementation. You can hiding the background details of the details or implementation. Consider a real life examples of a man driving a car. The man only knows that it is an accelerator, it is a brake, it is a horn, it is a clutch, but in the background scenario, how the features of the car internally mechanically how they can do that, they are not understanding how the what are the internal mechanism of this particular features, particular devices. Means the brake, how they can internally mechanically they are working, they don't know. Initially the person, they are only using this particular features. They don't know have any knowledge about the background details of the particular features or function of the particular device. This is known as data abstractions or class abstraction or method abstraction. But initially in your program, it is very important to describe or discuss the concrete class or concrete method in your source code. Encapsulation is defined as the wrapping up of data under a single unit. It is a mechanism that binds together code and the data. It manipulates. In encapsulation, the variables or data of a class are hidden from any other class. That is, you can create a multiple number of packages in a different packages. The class in a same package you can access the data. If a class having the data and data is to be public, or if a class is protected, you can access the protected data within the same package, but you cannot access the protected data if the particular class is to be mentioned in a different package. So how you can secure the data from the in a real world scenario in which the communication is to be done through the object or thread based communication. Inheritance, the next feature is inheritance. Inheritance is an important pillar of the object oriented based programming languages. The capability of class to derive properties and characteristics from the another class is called inheritance. How you can get the features, how you can get the properties of how you can get features from the super class or parent class. What is the part, each and every class having the data and the methods, and how we can how the particular child class or subclass can access the features, and the features must be public. If the features to be private, then the private data is not to be inherited to your child class or subclasses. So the inheritance, it is that is, you can reuse the particular code in your method in your object based programming languages. You can reuse the particular method. Types of inheritance, that is parent class, child class, single inheritance. Here there is some different type of inheritance in the object oriented based programming languages. Parent class having child class, that is single inheritance. Multiple inheritance, that is a child having the two parents class, that is the child class having the properties of the two different classes, and both the different classes have the parent is the parent class of the child class. This is known as multiple inheritance. But in the case of in Java, it is not possible it is not possible to inherit the two different class, to mention the different class as a parent. We can get the properties, we can get the properties of multiple inheritance through the interface. Third is multiple level inheritance, that is hierarchical, means parent class having the child class, class 1 having the parent is to be parent class of child class 2, child class 2, and child class 2 is to be parent of child class 3. It is multi-level inheritance. Next is hierarchical inheritance. Child 1, child 2, child 3, all are the three having the same parents, means the same parent class, that is parent class A. Here is derived class A, B, C, and D. In this situation, you can see that parent class having the two child classes or subclasses, or you can say the derived classes B and C. B and C having the same child classes, means class of D. D having the D is the child class of B and C. The B and C is the parent class of D. But it is here in this context, it is already known as it is multiple inheritance. But in Java, multiple inheritance is to be done through the interface. Number 6 properties is polymorphism. The word polymorphism means having many forms. In simple words, we can define polymorphism or the ability of message to be displayed in more than one form. For example, a person at the same time can have different characteristics, like a man at the same time is a father or a husband. An employee means a function having same function having different functionality. For example, if we are mentioning a method means known as a draw, the draw method can draw the circle, the draw method can draw the line, draw method can draw the polygon or parabola or cylinder, maybe different type of shape we can create through the draw method. But if we are drawing the different of shape, then we can put the particular different parameters through in case of, for example, if I am drawing a circle, then we can pass the 4 parameters to a draw method. If I am drawing the circle, then we can send the particular 3 parameters. One is xy coordinate, and second is radius. That is different. In case of different scenario, we can use the draw method to draw different shape. In this context, different shape, we can passing the different parameters. This concept is known as a polymorphism. Message passing. Objects communicates. There are the two main important key point in the context of the object-oriented programming. One is IPC, inter-process communication. Second is inter-thread communication. So the communication among the real world through the objects, that is, if you are talking about the communication, that is communication means message passing, means how we can create it. That is the different type of, that is thread, how the thread life cycle and the process life cycle, what are the stages, what are the priority, and what is the synchronization. These are the some key important contents in the context of the message passing. The objects communicate with one another by sending and receiving information to each other, means client and servers, or means how you can connect the how you can connect your application to the database through the JDBC driver. So a message of an object is a request for execution of a procedure, and therefore will invoke a function in the receiving object that generates the desired results. Message passing involves specify the name of the object and the name of the function and the information to be sent. A different type of class in Java and different type of methods to be mentioned in a specific class, through which we can exchange the information between the two different entities through the objects or thread. Thank you.